break. Change my socks.
Hey, it's Uncle Joe with Uncle Joe Hikes. We're leaving Hog Pen. Gonna make our way back to Low Gap Shelter. And just getting out on a beautiful day. Section of trail I haven't been on in quite a while, so let's get after it. So we just come up to our first little ridge top here. Got a number of thru hikers behind me, some up ahead too, so it's that time of year. There's gonna be more and more thru hikers coming through. And yeah, maybe get to talk to them a little bit. And do have some remnants of snow still. You can see here at the base of this tree. So a little bit chilly today, but it's supposed to get up to about 50, so be a warm hike by the time we get middle of the day. Quite a bit of snow up here. The last vestiges of the last snowstorm we had. A little side trail here to a little bit of a view, especially here in the winter. We're actually kind of curled east right now, and then we'll make our way north. So the trail does a little bit of a hook. So that's actually Yonah you see out there, which is east of here. Hog Pen Gap is right along here. So you got, I believe that'd be Wildcat straight out there. So the trail goes up to that and then turns. So get your hand out of our way, we can see. But yeah, Yonah out in the distance there. Got some thru hikers ahead of me there. We're all working our way along this bench cut here. Onward. Well, the thru hikers took a little bit of a break to shed some layers. They'd been very cold apparently this morning. And climbing up this side slope, getting pretty warm. So they were ready to take off a few layers. I'm getting close, but not too sweaty at the moment, so we'll keep the layers. I just got a base layer, a t-shirt, and this shirt, so we'll see. So you could see the mud as it's really starting to get beat out from thru hikers, getting more and more people on the trail, but primarily this mud was probably frozen really good. And this, of course, thawing now, that ice breaks up mud in a way like nothing else, and it has a tendency to make it rather slick when it does. Out west, out in the Midwest, like Missouri, I recall farmers that I met out there would say in the fall they have to turn over their fields with that black soil because they need the ice and the freeze to break it up for them so they can actually plant in the spring. So they said otherwise it's just like gum. So we don't really have that problem here in the south because most of our soil is relatively loose anyway, but we still get that effect, especially where it's exposed like this on the trail. That sun's really starting to warm things up nicely. Had a little bit of a breeze as I came around that point right there. Nothing too, yeah, I can still feel it a little bit. It's nothing too cold, which is kind of nice. So that might ward off having to stop and take this shirt off, at least for a little while. So we're getting a lot of this freeze thaw mud. So we're all kind of sliding as we go along, hoping to come out on a gap up here so and thru hikers behind me can take a break. They're getting ready for some lunch, but we got to keep from sliding up the side slope in all this slick mud. So far so good. Hiking through some holly here, little grove of it, making our way onward. Got a couple of miles to go yet. Well, we're slogging up a hill here, and it's straight up the fall line. Hikers back there taking some layers off. One of them's not through hiking, the other two are. But yeah, it's quite a climb. Luckily it's not real long, it's just kind of a nuisance. Well, we made it up to this summit. It's kind of a dog back a bit. Little ridge. I'm kind of glad I'm out of earshot of the other hikers for a moment, because one of the things that's significant about Low Gap Shelter where we're going is this is where the first real murder occurred on the AT. So Low Gap, yeah, infamous shelter. Joel Polson and Margaret Harritt were hiking, came there to spend the night. When they got there, there was a man already there, Ralph Fox, and they really didn't get a good feeling about him at first. Joel told Margaret that, you know, something ain't right with this guy. You know, he had told him he was hiking, but he didn't have any equipment. But he kind of ingratiated himself to them after a while, gathered firewood and helped them get things, I guess, situated around camp. So, you know, Joel got to think, well, this guy's not bad. But he wasn't totally comfortable with him, and told Margaret, you know, we need to get out of here early in the morning. So they had a good night's sleep, got up next morning, and Joel had everything packed up by the time she woke up. And he went down to the stream to kind of freshen up and maybe get some water or whatever. He was where she could see him from inside the shelter, so she bent down and started tying her shoes, and Ralph hopped out of the shelter and headed toward Joel. And Margaret didn't see anything because she was tying her shoes, but she heard a gunshot. And Ralph had killed Joel. Took Margaret, tied her to a tree. He really didn't want to kill her, and so he was going to just leave a note up at the shelter where she was, hoping that other hikers would find her, because he said he'd never killed a woman before and he didn't want to. But eventually he took her hostage and untied her, and they wound up hiking their way out. And he had warned her, you know, not to tell anybody along the way or any other hikers, or he'd killed her and them. And it's kind of sort of thing you would imagine somebody that desperate and in that situation would do. Eventually he put her on a bus, believe it or not, and she was able to get away and call the police, and he was eventually caught. So it's quite a story. You know, if you want to know more about it, Kyle Hates Hiking on YouTube. I'll leave a link below. He's got a great expose, if you will, on the entire story. Outside Magazine did an article as well. Of course, there's been plenty done on this. All happened in 1974. I was like 8 years old. So, you know, I didn't know anything about the AT at that time, so it was a long time ago. In fact, they found Joel's body on my birthday, May 11th. So, yeah, kind of a sordid story. One I didn't really want to talk too much around the hikers who were going to stay there. But yeah, I remember when I came to that shelter, I hadn't even heard the story yet, and I just didn't have a good feeling about the shelter. I recall it being high off the ground and really exposed, and just wasn't somewhere I wanted to stay. But yeah, kind of glad I didn't. So we're here in this gap. The unusual thing is the trail's built up right here. So maybe there was a low spot here and they just decided to build it up. I really don't know, but it's quite unusual. Coming over a little craggy area here, looking out to our west. Brasstown is actually much further north yet, but we're making our way along this on a western slope, which is kind of different than what we've been doing all this time. We've been over on the other slope. So that's a nice change of pace. Well, you can't see it, but straight through there, it looks like the tower to Brasstown Ball. Very hard to see. Plus, it's light colored, so the sun's reflecting on it really good. So now that we're over on this north-facing slope, we're getting some ice on the trail. Some of this ground hasn't thawed. You got to be careful with slipping, as you can see right here. That's a little bit on the slushy side, which is good, but there were some what looked like solid pieces back there. You can see by this root here. So you just got to be careful. A little bit of snow too. Definitely cooler on this side of the mountain. Oh, little perch right there. Give you a little bit of view in the wintertime, the valley out below. Still got some ice here to be careful of. Got some rocks embedded in it, which helps. So we just came around that tongue, so the trail's kind of doing a crook on itself. Almost a complete U here, and then it's going to flip around to our left. But it's opened up under here really big. You can see a little rock crag up there. Some big trees. But it's really open under here, which is kind of cool. So we're making our descent. So far the descent has not been real steep. I don't know if it's going to steepen up here shortly or not. But it's about 500 feet from where we crested up there down to Low Gap. So I hope it's still gradual, because I got to climb it to get back out. All right, make our way down to the shelter. Well, they got this roped off, trying to keep people from camping in these areas. Get overcamped, get trampled down. Not good, so give nature a chance to bring some of it back. Well, there's the famous or infamous Low Gap shelter.
Howdy, howdy.
All right, we're leaving the shelter. Had a nice visit with Hoot, Wing It, pole dancer, trekking pole dancer, and the fire and rescue girl. I didn't get her name. Anyway, hopefully they make it all the way, those who are going all the way. All right, we made it back to the trail. Start our climb. Well, them little elves done pushed the snow out from in front of their door there, Jim. Well, we're about a mile or so, a little over a mile from the shelter, heading back. Good to meet everyone there. Told Hoot the story before everybody else got there. I said, now mum's the word till morning. So he can let them know if they're curious. But I figure they'll sleep a lot better if they don't know what happened at that shelter. So, you know, there have been a few incidents even since then. The woman on Blood Mountain, a couple of years ago, that guy with a machete up in Virginia. But still, percentage wise, it's not likely anything's going to happen to you on the AT. More likely to fall and hurt yourself. Just about everybody you meet is really nice, and you usually fall in with a group of people that you hike with most of the way. So wish all the through hikers safe journey. fellow that came by earlier said there was some trail magic down here at the trailhead. When I was packing up to start my hike, I could see somebody getting out of the truck with a propane tank, so not surprised. I kind of figured there'd be somebody setting up, which is nice. It's good for the through hikers, you know. They get them a warm meal. He said he had some soup, so kind of cool. Anyway, we still probably got a good 1.5 miles before we get back. The sun's still way up, so we got plenty of time. Not in danger of it getting dark on us by any stretch. Well, the trail's getting really slick. Really slick. This mud is just slick like grease. Yeah. And we're going uphill, so we're losing traction when we do hit these mud spots. One of the hikers earlier said this mud was so slick, you're almost better off with micro spikes on. That's about the truth. Right ahead of us on the left, there he goes. I don't know if the camera's picking it up. A big owl or hawk. Probably an owl given the size. He'll be on our right as we make this turn. Maybe we'll get another shot of him. There he goes. Just went behind the ridge. I doubt the camera was able to get him, but big fella. Well, we can see the highway down there, and that's one of the kind of southeast facing overlooks that you can pull off at. The highway's going to go up and around to Hogpen, which is where we're headed. You can hear the motorcycles having a big time on the curvy road. I guess I can't blame them. It's a beautiful ride and lots of fun. I haven't done it on a motorcycle, but I've done it in a little sports car, and buddy, that was a lot of fun. It's funny how you can be head down and all of a sudden come around a corner and look up and you're at your destination. We can see old Goby over there waiting patiently. Hopefully nobody broke in and got my transistor radio. I'll be trying to pick up one of them long distance AM stations like Chicago or New York tonight. There we are. Hogpen Gap. You can see all the ice on the wall going down. Always ices up a good bit over there. Well, Hogpen to Low Gap Shelter done. About 9.4 miles of trail and about 10.7 in steps. Thought I'd get out, beautiful day, get a hike in, talk a little bit about that notorious shelter. Of course, I'll put links to Kyle Hates Hiking's video and Outside Magazine's article on that. And yeah, heart goes out to the Polson family, even though it's been nearly 51 years. You don't forget losing a loved one. Anyway, we're going to get out of here, get something to eat.